Today I'm doing something a little bit different and a little bit new, and I've decided that I'm going to start doing a little more of time with some really wonderful people that I feel like are worth hearing their words. And I've decided I'm going to call this Learn with Leaders. And today I decided I would start with someone that has been my mentor for over 12 years. She lives in El Dorado, Maryland, and if you've never heard of that, you are not alone. She kind of lives in the middle of nowhere, and we're actually surrounded by an ice field today. So she lives in a place that has a population of 93 people. So she has to drive 30 minutes to get anywhere, and still she's managed to find an amazing success. She has 26 years in Mary Kay, and she started out in the social work field, in the mental health field. She started her Mary Kay business to earn extra money and for a new living room set, and it turned into so much more. She has done Unit Club every year as a sales director for the last 22 years, and for those of you who are not in the Mary Kay world, that is a very big deal for your unit to reach that. She's also done a top director trip to Rome, Italy, with her unit achieving over $650,000 in 1 year. That's amazing for her unit size. She's done $500,000 in sales above 7 times, and her highest monthly commission check is $14,000 in 1 month. You guys, that's amazing. She's had 15 Mary Kay cars, 12 of them pink Cadillacs. Both of her children came home from the hospital in a pink Cadillac, the Mary Kay signature car. She's been married to her husband Wayne for 26 years. They actually met when they were 11 years old, so they've got some serious history there. They are both pastors of a fast-growing church in Cambridge, Maryland, and super involved in their community and schools. They have a 19-year-old son, Jake Ray, who just got his license and is taking his test in the pink Cadillac, and a 16-year-old daughter, Olivia, who's a sophomore in high school. She's our sales director. I'd like for you to meet Emily Stone. Come on in, Emily. Yay! Thank you so much for having me.
Everybody needs that kind of intro.
I know. I feel like everybody should just send out accolades so that you could do that.
Before you walk into work, before you go anywhere.
I know, and thank you for having me so that we didn't, and not rescheduling, even though we had to do a really fun, what did you call it, the penguin walk, just to get in here?
Yes, the penguin walk.
Just to get into the house, because literally everything is ice, and I know we're expecting more snow, so I appreciate you having me and for telling my friends all about your business. So I'd love to get a little bit more of your I story, or what we call I story in the Mary Kay world.
Right.
Your background and kind of what made you join Mary Kay to begin with.
You know, it's funny because I have to remember it sounds forever ago when you even say the 1900s, but it was November 1999.
It does sound a while back.
The 1900s is like, God, that was another century, a long time ago, but it was only 26 years ago, but still, it was November 1999 when I found myself in a position. I'd recently been married, and my husband and I were building a house, actually this house where we are right now, and one of my friends, up until then, one of my friends had started Mary Kay, and you know when your friends start stuff, they call you, they're excited, and they rope you into whatever they're doing.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, sure, Bobby Joe, we were lifelong friends, and she was like, so I went with her, and she had like a training, so I attended that. Then I was like, I like this, but I don't want to pay for it, so I'll have my friends over. Old school name was I'll have a party, it's kind of what it was called back then, and because I wanted to get free stuff. And so everybody wants free stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, I see how this works. So I invited my friends over to my house, and she led us through the makeover, and everybody loved it, and everybody bought, and I watched the money exchanged from my friend's hands to her hands in my house while they ate my food. So I thought, well, that's interesting, but I got free stuff. Yeah. And then she came again because I wanted more stuff, and I still wanted it for free. So then I invited a second batch, like the second string of friends that didn't come to the first one.
Gotta get new blood.
Yeah, new blood. And so then we did it again, and I watched it. And here's the thing, she did the same thing. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when she said that. Third time, I had 3 because I just wanted a lot of stuff.
And she didn't change a word.
No. And I knew her from like forever. And so I'm like, if she can do this. And she was saying that to me. She's like, you need to look at this. And I gave her every reason no. I was too busy. And finishing up. I was working on my master's degree. There was different things that were happening, but yet, like, I needed some new living room furniture. We were building a home, and you know, like, whenever you're building something, you don't want to take your old stuff into your new place.
Oh, absolutely not.
So I remember thinking this could be a little side hustle. I knew women, and I knew they wanted to look good, and I'm like, this is how I'm going to get my furniture. And so it was just that short of a thought, and it was just that simple. It was for a short season of, I want to get my furniture.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why I'm like, sure, I'll give this a try. They're buying their moisturizer from somewhere. They're buying their mascara from somewhere. I'll just give this a whirl so I can get my couch and what I wanted.
I had something similar. It was I don't know, I mean, what could really go wrong? You're not spending a ton of money, you're not doing anything crazy. It was
No.
just a way
Yes.
for me, it was a way to get cute.
Yes.
To
Yeah.
wear something, because the woman walked in and she was just glowing.
Yes.
And she had on a pair of leopard print shoes. I remember that much. And I just remember her prancing
Yes.
around the room, and she wasn't saying anything
Right.
like you said, crazy. And I just remember seeing her and going, I could do that. I could do that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I could see that.
Yeah.
So I get exactly why you did it. Because again, social work, very different feel from
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, it was what I did in social work, and I loved it. But I was in the mental health field, so it was never the same day. I'll give it that. It was never the same day. But you know, a lot of times when I was seeing people in social work, they weren't real happy that they were seeing me. There was something that was going wrong, which is why I was there.
Yeah.
Something was not right. Whereas
They weren't exactly excited to
no,
see you.
no.
No.
And so the neat part is I remember when I started facialing women and building, I was like, it was my way to step away and just be a girl again.
Yeah.
And just like have, like, all of a sudden everybody was happy as could be when I left them. Whereas before, not everybody was happy as can be when I left them. So that was an interesting, like, I found a lot of, from a busy, hectic, or heavy day,
Mhm.
it was actually where I could breathe and I had fun with it. I did.
I love
Yeah.
that. Now, would you consider yourself like a real makeup girl when you came in, or was this something that was a little out of your comfort zone?
Makeup girl, yes. Skincare girl, no. I use rubbing alcohol to wash my face.
Got it. I have heard this
So-
so much lately.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
they're using the shampoo that
Oh,
is
right.
in their shower whenever
Yeah.
they're and their husbands share.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
that's normal. I mean, that's
Yes.
pretty normal for a
Yeah.
lot of women.
Yeah,
So
and it was I would wear mascara and eyeshadow and lip, like, so I was used to color, but not at all about what I was washing my face. So obviously, when I could get like a 99-cent bottle of rubbing alcohol and put it on a cotton ball, and that's how I clean my face.
oh my gosh, okay.
Insane, and I still have a face to this day. Isn't that wild? And it's even still here. But yeah, so I had to learn. Like, I had to learn that. Like, that was something that. Yeah, so when I did start talking to my friends who knew me about washing your face and skincare,
Mhm.
they're like, and I'm like, I'm washing my face, y'all. I'm using this. Like,
I
and
love
like,
that.
they're like, really? Like,
Yeah.
so I think that was just a shocker in itself, really.
I think
Yeah.
it was a little bit of a curve for me. I know I loved playing with stuff, but no one
Mhm.
had ever taught me. And I don't
Right.
think a lot of our moms actually teach us as we're
Mm.
going. Like,
Right.
it's not something
Yeah.
that they say, hey, come here, let me show you how to properly wash your face.
Yeah.
Or this is
Yeah.
what you should be using. And I
Mhm.
honestly don't know that it's their fault. I don't
Right.
know that they learned.
Yeah.
So I was the same thing. I was
Yeah.
using whatever was in my bathroom that I happened to use, or whatever I could find at Walmart that just looked like it should work for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it was actually working for me. I had
Yeah.
terrible acne, so I completely get
Yeah.
that. So
And you know what's funny is I remember seeing in my mother's cabinet and my grandmother's cabinet Mary Kay. Both my mom and my grandmother used Mary Kay. I mean, it's been around since 1963.
Yeah.
The company, the brand. And so I remember when it was time for me to look at that. Like, one of my biggest objections to Bobby Joe was like, you know, when you're young and you're like, if my mother and grandmother are using it, it certainly isn't for
it's
me.
not, yeah.
I'm young people, they're not, you know? And so I remember having that stigma because they literally, both of them used that. And so that was the interesting part of it, is I remember seeing that brand a lot before, but totally, like, yeah, not for me.
Now I had heard of it, and I
Yeah.
had seen other people talk about it,
Mhm.
but it was similar.
Yeah.
I mean, the stigma I had of it was that that's got to be for older women,
For
like,
sure.
because there's so many
Yeah.
older women that are in the company and that
Yes.
are in it for long term.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think maybe that's why we thought that, because there was a longevity to a lot of the women that
Yes.
joined it. They never left, or
Yeah.
things
For
like
sure.
that. So
And once you have a customer, like even now, like, I mean, just where I feel like I've grown up in the company. I
Yeah.
mean, when I started, I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
So where I've grown up, and so have my customers. They've grown up too.
yeah,
So how you can have longevity of a customer is that once they're washing their cleanser down the drain or their moisturizer, and once there's relationship there, and then even when new products come out, when they know you're going to be the one telling them about it or showing them about it or consulting them, which is what we're called, a consultant,
yeah.
you know, that versus they go to Walmart and they see it on an end cap, or they go into Ulta and it's some chick that wasn't there last week,
Yeah.
you know, standing in the middle
Or
of
they're
it.
trying the new trends. I've seen one.
Yeah.
I had a poor girlfriend. She went to a MAC counter, and I'll just, she went to the mall, and it was a young lady at the MAC counter, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so excited to try this bold color." And again, bold colors are fun
Mhm.
until they're on your face when you're not used to them.
Right,
And
yeah.
of course, the girl went
Mhm.
hard
Right.
on her, and she
Right.
was like, "I'm never putting makeup on ever again. That was
Right.
the most awful experience." And
Scarred
she just
for
looked
life.
crazy. And
Yeah.
I took her a while.
Yeah.
It took her a minute,
No,
because
it's
again,
true.
you have one bad experience, and I think most
Yeah.
women are like this. You have one bad experience, and you
Mhm.
don't want to try again. But
Yeah.
I love the fact that they know that they have one person that they have
Mhm.
a relationship with, that
Yeah.
they feel like they can trust. And things
Oh my
like that.
gosh. You know, the amount of customers and consultants that I've grown up with that I cannot imagine where and who would be in my life if those customers and consultants if I wouldn't have met them along the way.
It shapes you.
Oh, absolutely. They are
Yeah.
treasured friends. And now that we're maturing together, we're like, you remember when we were 21 and we would put this on our face? And then you're putting it on, you're like, yeah, this is not for mature skin. You know,
No,
that's-
I realized that this morning when I was even putting on something,
Yeah.
and I'm learning I matte color versus
Mhm.
shimmer, things
Mhm.
like that.
yeah.
So this leads me to a great segue to my next topic, trends,
Mm.
because a lot of people are
Yeah.
seeing so much more on the internet now than they used to. And
Right.
for me, I'm seeing all of these beautiful 21-year-olds
Yes.
with massive bushy brows
Yeah.
and blush covering all of their face,
Yes,
when I have
yes.
fought very, very hard, especially
Yeah.
at my age, and I'm
Yeah.
going through the hot times.
Right. Yeah.
There's times where I'm trying so hard to get rid of the redness.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're adding it to their
Adding it,
face.
I know.
So please tell me
Yeah.
your take on trends. Good, bad. What's one of your favorites that you've seen recently?
So some of my favorites have probably been, I mean, it definitely is more of a minimalist, natural look for sure, which is interesting because I've spent most of my career and life not with that look.
Yes.
So, you know, before we would work really hard to create something, whereas now it really is, it's a little bit more of a natural look. But, you know, what I've learned about trend, I've seen so much in the 26 years of trend, just like it's
Yeah.
the beauty industry, just like clothing, you know what I mean? Just like the cycle of clothes, it is the cycle of cosmetics and what that look is with that. And so there are some trends that I know when I just saw the trend of literally zero eye makeup, but extremely bold lips.
I've seen this too.
Zero eye makeup.
A little
it's-
scary.
And I'm like, and it's definitely not my favorite trend.
Yeah.
But this is what I've learned over the years of trend. Trend is the confidence that you can carry it in. And when there's a woman that can walk in, it could be an outfit, it could be whatever her face is, when she carries that with a confidence, not an arrogance, but when she carries it with a confidence and she feels confident within her, people will notice and actually want to know and do that trend. And so trend setters really are someone who, whatever it is, you just go with it in confidence.
Yeah.
And in that quiet confidence, people do look more because they're attracted to the confidence, and they kind of think that the color of the trend's going to give them that, when we all know it comes from inside. But that's the interesting part of trend. You could be totally out of what social media or culture will tell you, but you could walk in with it with a level of confidence, and it will speak to people, hands down.
That is
Yeah.
so well put.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Oh,
that. I've never
yeah.
thought of it that way. Never thought of that with the fact that, it doesn't really matter. I mean, whatever woman feels confident in
Yes.
is really what they should be wearing. For me personally, I don't think I could ever do the bushy brow.
Right. No.
This is as
No.
big as they
Yeah,
get, guys.
Yeah. And I could never do the zero eye makeup.
Yeah, no.
Because when I don't wear it, people will be like, "Do you feel okay?
Yeah.
Are you sick?"
Are you all right?
I'm like, "No, I just didn't put eyeliner on. That's all." So yeah,
That's
no,
fun.
it's true.
So, speaking of some of the things that you feel like you need to do on a normal basis for you to feel confident,
Mhm.
what are some of your favorite products? Some of the things that you turn to and refuse, like if you were trapped on an island, maybe. What are the things that you would take on this island?
Liner or mascara.
Okay.
Yep.
What
Liner.
about skincare?
For skincare? It would definitely need to be, what am I going to wash my face with, for sure.
When you get the sand off.
Yeah, what I need to wash my face. There are some products within our line that I absolutely love, and there's something called hydrogel eye patches. So hydrogel is all about depuffing, and so it's very trendy right now. So before it started in the eye patch form for puffiness, when you woke up and you're kind of puffy, bloated,
Yeah.
and so you put them on, and your skin, how you know is your skin absorbs them so quickly.
Yes.
That's how you know how
I
bad
just
you
did
need
this the other
hydrogel.
night with a charcoal mask
Yes.
for my live, and I felt the
Yeah.
difference immediately.
Yeah.
And they were dry when I went to take them off, and I was like,
Yeah.
they probably shouldn't
Yeah.
have been that dry.
It wasn't, and when I take them on, and it's so dry, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. That means I have not taken good care of you. It's like a starving, and so now that trend, now you see the whole mask.
Yes.
In addition to hydrogel, there's certainly many other benefits of anti-aging and things like that, the collagen, certain buzzwords that are added in these masks now. But now you see the full mask that you either put on for 20 minutes, that you sleep in and then take off, so that same concept that started with eye patches is now literally for the whole face. So I love them, and we obviously have both of them in our line.
Yeah.
And just like every other cosmetic company, they've got some form of that in their line. But I've there's something that over all these years that I can depend on Mary Kay for, and that's that the scientists, the lab work, the behind the scenes, the ingenuity that in creating the products, and it's not just for us in the United States, but it's global, is second to none. And so when they come out with the product, and when I'm like, this is awesome, it's a trustworthy.
I've noticed that anything that they say the product is really going to do,
Yes.
it does it. And
Yes.
I mean, it might not be exact overnight. I mean, some people I can do a facial or makeover on, and you can see the results immediately.
Yes, for sure.
Some are instant. Now, some are. But there are some that actually take weeks or a
Yes.
couple weeks, and
Yeah.
they say that, but
Yeah.
they make note that they
Yes.
are going to do these things in
Yeah.
time. So I do love that too. So as a entrepreneur in
Mhm.
Mary Kay, now that we've talked about some of the fun stuff, let's get to some of the nittier grittier
Wow.
fun. Some of the obstacles.
Mm.
What would you say some of the biggest obstacles have been? Starting your business, keeping it going, continuing to grow a unit, continuing to have a unit and hold
Right.
it. What would you say some of your biggest obstacles have been? Maybe let's start with starting the business.
A lot of times when women start a business, we've got no experience in business. When I started, I was very, very early 20s, and I had zero financial experience. I was in a ton of debt, finished college, back into college, graduate school, and I really didn't even know what to do with money. So I remember when I started making money, it was exciting, and I would take it and I'd put some in my pocket and some in my purse, and then I'd stop and put gas in my car. So there's certain elements that really can make or break a business. I'm grateful because I came in not knowing a lot of them, but Mary Kay did provide the training and the mentorship to teach it to me. And I'm so grateful because it taught it to me for this business, but it's taught it to me for life, and so I think about financial management will make or break any business.
Okay.
Time management will make or break any business. And so again, I didn't have that because a lot of times when you start Mary Kay, you're working a full-time job. You still have a full life.
Right.
You could be married with kids, you could be in college. Every season is different. So money management, time management, emotional management is
Yes.
huge for us chicks. especially every 28 days, you know, it gets even more
And
interesting.
you're
But
on a roller coaster when you don't know what to
Yes.
expect. I think a lot of women come in and they have such high hopes and they're
Yes.
expecting, but maybe they didn't put the thought to the actual work that would need to be
Yes.
done. So,
Yep. it
did
is.
you find the work itself as an obstacle or difficult for you?
It was probably the easiest because the fourth one I was going to mention is skill management. And that's actually just learning the trade, learning the skill, just like you would at any job. No matter what your career is, you're taught the skill. And if you can read and follow and do that, I mean, we're very teachable as women. We'll learn and we're quick we are fast learners. And then when we put it into practice, that is how we learn. That's how you get better and better. And
I agree. I'm a very kinesthetic learner myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
doing. I
Yeah.
like to be doing. I think a lot of women get held up on. For me, it was always booking. Just having to reach out to other
Yeah.
women and not knowing if you're going to get a yes or no. But I
Yeah.
don't think that I'm alone in that. I think that's
Oh, no.
most people, and
Yeah.
that's an obstacle most of us have to get
Yeah.
over. Is the fact that sometimes they don't realize the person on the other end was very excited to hear from
Yes.
you,
Yeah.
but you were so nervous to hit the send button.
Yes. Yeah.
That maybe they missed
Yeah.
out on something like that.
Yeah.
So
It is. It's so
Um,
true. And women are gracious because when you are learning and when you're in the beginning, I just had fun with it of like, yeah, no, that's definitely your wrong color. Let's take that off and try again. You know, like
Yes.
we're not, I always compared it, we're not hairstylists and cutting hair and then the hair's in the floor and you're like, sorry, I got it. Like, that's pressure. I think
Yeah.
about cutting hair that's like, whoop, there it is in the floor and she changed her mind. Whereas it's the wrong foundation match or don't like that lipstick, wipe off, try
you can
again.
always take it off.
Yeah, so we're
I
not
love that.
tattooing on people's faces. You know
That's
what I mean?
very
So
true.
nothing was permanent. And so when it became a laugh, but you know, women appreciated that because you don't get that in a grocery store, or you don't get that that camaraderie, that relationship when you're at somebody's kitchen table or you're in the break room with them at work.
Yes.
It's just fun connection for women.
I
It is.
have to agree.
Yeah.
I have had so many more friendships built out of this, or
Mhm.
people that I hadn't had a chance to connect with. I was
Yeah.
connecting with
Yeah.
that, maybe I had gone to high school and hadn't seen in 20
Yes.
years, or
Yeah.
people that, we have stalkers on Facebook
Right.
now. We all do.
Yeah.
So it was nice to actually put a face to a name, or
Yeah.
I've actually met people that I knew lived in my community, might have gone to school in my area, that
Yeah.
I somehow became magic Facebook friends with, that
Yeah.
I would have had no other reason to reach out or connect
Yes.
with them, that I've had a chance to actually meet, connect
Yeah.
with, and build a friendship. So
Yes.
I've actually really enjoyed that piece too.
Yes, for sure.
So what has been your favorite part about becoming a director and being a director over all these years? What do you think is your
Sure.
favorite part? I know that's a loaded question.
It's a big question. My
Yeah.
favorite part about being a director. So when you step into, leadership starts with all of us, no matter what position you hold. One is leading ourselves well is step number one, and then when you do lead yourself well, then you do have influence with I'm speaking about women right now. So when we can lead ourselves well, we'll have influence with others to help lead them well.
Mhm.
And so the best part about it is what happens within us. The growth within us is key, and it's foundational to being a strong leader because that's what gains influence there. And so so much that I've loved about directorship is how I've grown, where it's pushed me to make decisions on what am I building my life on. And so, when I started Mary Kay in early 20s and just married and all those things and moving on later and, into this season of life, of how much my life has changed as far as the seasons I'm in, of kids and their ages and where we are and just my husband and I being in the ministry now full time, just seeing what that looks like. I'm so grateful for it. I learned about confidence and where it truly comes, and it gave me that influence that I had. Yes, I could teach somebody how to book and how to do this, how to close, or how to match foundation. But what I loved in that is being able to really be with women one-on-one and really help speak life and encourage them about their own confidence and just their own walk with Christ, essentially. And just being able to, because we all want to be the wife we're called to be, the mom we're called to be, the sister we're called to be. And so it's definitely been being able to impact the other lives. Maybe they made more money in the business and it's paid for their electric bill, or it's paid, you're a perfect example. It's been able to pay for options when you needed to be with your son. You know what I mean? It's given you options.
Yeah.
So you've not been forced to do something that everything on the inside screams, I don't like that. It goes against every dream I've had.
Yeah.
And
I love watching. I love watching you, especially, or really anybody that comes into this kind of business, and the fact that it grows with them. That they don't have to be a cookie cutter. They don't have to fit inside a certain box for it to work for them.
Yes.
And it's gone with you through every stage of life. So.
Oh my gosh! And there's certain seasons. It's crunch time, and there were things happening, just like in anyone's life. All of a sudden, you're there, and I've experienced it in my own. I've watched it in other women of their husband come home and being like, I was laid off today. And it was crunch time for that wife. And we have that avenue in the business to run with that, you know? And so there's been different seasons where it was like, hey, here's the focus for the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. And I remember thinking I could have never gone to my boss of my other job and said, you know what, I need to give myself a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 raise for this season.
For right this minute, I need
For
something.
right this minute. But then I don't want it to stay at that intensity. They look like I feel like I was crazy.
Yes.
You know, that is the beauty of entrepreneurship. It really is the beauty, and that way you can create that pace, and then you can enjoy a pace or a season that you are, and then when it's crunch time, you can move again.
Well, I think you've already answered my next question, and that was, how do you continue to overcome any of these big obstacles? And I'm assuming that, just like you just said, that it's an adjustment of where they are in their life season and of what they need to overcome at that very moment. Because again, there are going to be easier seasons that,
For sure.
you know, maybe your husband's bringing in more money or something else, or maybe the kids have finally left a daycare or whatever it is, so maybe you don't have to work as hard. Do you find in those moments that you need to continue to push, or is there a way that you overcome so that you can continue to push even if you're in the easy season? Because I personally, and I, you know, it's not something I disclose a whole lot, but I'll just put it out there, I'm in an easy season, and for me it's been hard to force myself to have to go back out and push and work. I mean, but there's always this one little goal in the back of my mind. How would you suggest that I continue to push through the easy season?
Yeah.
When I don't necessarily have to.
Right, when you don't have to. It is, that's where your will, when someone is comfortable and everything is great, and we settle there, how long we settle there is key, because once we settle there, it's just in our nature, we actually, all expectation is usually continued to lower. You know what I mean? So it is figuring out what is that desire, what is, I mean, because at the end of it, it has to be my will and my desire that's going to make those decisions to do the activity needed, whatever career that is. Here's the activity that's going to be needed to achieve this goal. And so if the goal's here and here's the activity needed, if there's a big gap there, and if I'm not willing to do the activity to get here, then I need to lower the goal, or else I'll just live in a season of frustration for a long time. And so I've just learned that here's the goal, here's what I'm willing to do. I'm in a season where I can do it, let's go.
Yes.
Because I don't know how long that season will last.
Well, I feel like that's where I've kind of settled, if I'm being brutally honest. I've been somewhere settling in a season of easy, but a season of frustration at the same time, because I know I could be doing more, but there wasn't a whole lot pushing me. So I feel like I've started doing those kinds of activities that would move me forward. Like you've always put forward, the income producing activities, the IPAs. So what activities, daily, weekly, or even monthly, do you think have truly been like the key to your success? Like your being able to hold on to directorship and continue to maintain a business for that many years?
Yeah, definitely the systems that have been put in place. The foundation is always going to be relationships with people. There's no bypassing that. You know, so I think about how we earn our income in Mary Kay, multiple different ways we earn income. But if we just look at customer, if we just look at regular retail and commissions that we earn from a product exchange, a product sale, that's going to be from a customer that I have invested in. Whether I know them face to face, I've been to their home, they've been to mine, or whether it's completely been virtual or over social media, that I know there's got to be a certain amount of customers. In any business, there's got to be a certain amount, what income is coming in. So if I'm not happy with the income I'm making, then enough income isn't. So I have to be aware, how does income come in to this particular business? of
Yes.
whatever that business would be. And then I got to look at every avenue of income, and that's the area that I would have to focus. And so I've had customers, I've loved that longevity of customers who, because when they understand you're trustworthy and that you honestly love them, that when you hear they're getting surgery, or when you hear someone's passed, or when you hear that their daughter, and so then you're like, hey, would you come do her makeup for her wedding? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember when she was born, or I did her makeup for prom, and now I'm doing her makeup as a bride.
Yeah.
And so that is the beauty of relationship with people.
So do you find the daily activity for that, or is it like a weekly activity that you'll sit down and reach out to people as a part of your connection? Do you
Yeah.
think do you do it more daily? Because I know some people, they can sit down and they can have a list of 10 people to call every day.
Mm-hmm.
Other people, they prefer to kind of sit down and eat the
Mhm.
whole elephant in one day.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately am someone who would prefer to sit down with with the elephant
Mhm.
and attack
Yeah.
it all at one
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
that's just how I function better.
Yeah.
So how do you function better as far as connecting with people?
So that has changed greatly over the years and with the season I'm in. And so when I first started, and it was the laser focus, it was daily, without a doubt. What is the day? What am I doing today to build this business? And when you're building a new business, and when it doesn't matter what the business is, you invest a lot in the beginning, hands down.
Yes.
It's more
Whether it's time or
consuming.
money.
Absolutely. You're going to invest because you know there's got to be something to get the pot boiling. Like there's got to be, you've got to start doing some things. And so in the beginning, you are covering every avenue that you can. And it was a daily. It was, what am I doing? And so even when you're working full time or doing this, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do that's an income producing activity today? And then you look at your schedule and be like, okay, I've got an hour block. There's certain days you may have an hour or two block. There's certain days it's going to be like, I've got 30 minutes in the carpool line, but daggone, I'm going to give that 30 minutes everything I've got.
Right.
And when I'm in that carpool line, I know exactly who I'm calling and what we're talking about, because time is so precious. When you realize you've got certain pockets, and that really is time management and planning and preparing, you know what I mean, of, okay, so when I have my pockets of free time, what am I doing to build the business?
Yes.
You know, so whether it's a car ride, whether it's sitting in, you know, like when you have like that dead time, downtime, like you're waiting in the doctor's office and you're sitting there, and you could be reading People magazine, you could be looking at social media,
Yes.
or I think I'm actually going to do something to build my business.
Income. So
Yeah.
for so many years, we've always known that income producing activities were people centric,
Mhm.
and now I think there's starting to be a shift.
Mhm.
A lot more people are doing more on social media, which
Oh,
is
for sure.
more of an inward kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I think that's been an adjustment for me.
Mhm.
Having to wrap my brain around the fact that an income producing activity might actually be doing 2 reels a day.
Mhm.
Or, you know, commenting on other people's things and navigating social media
Mhm.
by putting comments out every day or
Yeah.
engaging, which feels odd to me,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But again, I think I still have to remember that it's people centric.
Mhm.
Anything income producing is going to involve other people. It's not going to be your desk activity.
Right, for sure.
It's not going to be rearranging the papers and things like that. So that's been a
Yes.
hard adjustment for me, realizing that my daytime stuff
Yes.
needed to be people.
Yeah.
So I'm still working on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is one activity, and then we'll get ready to close out. What
Okay.
is one activity that you absolutely love in your business? I think you kind of covered this a little bit, but what makes you feel like you are in true badassness? Like you are really doing
right.
you the best in your business.
It's when it's when I'm in front of a woman. And it could be one or it could be five. I personally enjoy groups of women because the energy is already there amongst them.
Yes.
You don't have to carry so for women that are shy, you would think them going in a room of 5 people or 4 people would be like earth-shattering. But the great thing about that, they carry the conversation and you kind of nose in their conversation.
You
And
kind of
then-
just butt in every
You
now and
do,
then, like,
and
hey,
then-
do you want to do this?
yeah, and then you're like, hey, I need you just for one quick minute, you know. So that is kind of the fun. I enjoy the camaraderie of that, of just hearing how people are connected, hearing how they dish about each other, and
Yes.
and because then it doesn't matter what people's income is, what their degrees are, if they're married, single, whatever. When women get together like that, we are all on the same level. We all want to talk. We all want to talk about the same things, and we bring it's just us as women together. And so and when wash their face or put a charcoal mask on or
Yeah.
all of a sudden get mascara on. It's like all of a sudden they feel empowered. They feel significant. They feel confident.
Well, and it's fun to do
that
with a
piece.
friend. And
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I love
For
that.
sure.
And you know, I think so many women, they get so caught up on the fact that they would have to present or do things
Yes.
with
Oh.
so many people, and they get shy. I personally get red every time I have to
Yes.
talk to
Right.
people. I know that
Yeah.
much. So a group is intimidating for a lot of people, but
Yes.
I love that perspective.
Yes.
The fact that you get to kind of just
Oh yeah.
be an addition to
You
whatever
do.
they're already bringing
You
to the
kind of
party.
have to become a referee sometime and like, time out. Remember, we got to get some Mary Kay done here. I don't want to be here all night. You know, I remember saying that to groups of women, and I'm like, time out. I got to get home. I got a hot
We gotta
husband
get out
waiting
of
on
here.
me. So I need to get
That
home.
hot husband is important. You gotta get home too.
Yeah, I got to get
I
home
love
to
that.
him. So yeah.
So one last thing, and this is kind of just throwing it out there. Anything that you want to promote that you're doing in the community, because I know that you do a lot in ministry,
Mhm.
and you love getting in front of groups, especially to bring the word of Jesus to
Mhm.
people. So, is there anything that you would like to put out there? Any activities or events or anything that is coming up for you? Or I know that you guys are working on building. Was it a newer chapter?
Yeah.
Recently. So anything you would like to tell them?
We always do all kinds of things within our community and outreach. I know our men are doing an outreach next week on Monday, and it's about building. It's got a construction theme. You know, we are physically building our church this year. You know, we're in the permit season of that. But it's a vision night for the men about how to build a life, build a family with the right foundation. And so everything we do is around family. It's around family and God's design and the roles of the God-given roles, not the roles that our culture has picked up or the roles that feel good all the time. But what we found is the community is hungry and it says, you know what? I would love to do it God's way, but I'm just not real sure what it is.
Yes.
Because when I read the word, I don't understand it, or when I hear somebody talk, I don't understand it. And so that's what I found, the simplicity of the younger. I mean, our congregation is probably the majority between, it's under 30, the majority of age-wise. And so, and I love it because like we had in 2025, we had 14 weddings and we added 17 babies just in our congregation.
That's
Because
awesome.
now people are excited about why God said marriage, why He created family. And when you actually, and most people just want to come in with the motive of like, what is it really? I'd like to know. And so that's what we're doing, building, teaching. Here's the foundation. This is what the word says. And so everything that we do, whether it's from the men to the women, we are having Valentine's Day is on a Saturday this year. I don't know if you've seen that on the calendar.
I've seen it.
So it's on a men. Saturday, it's February 14th. But that morning, I'm doing with all of our, and it's an outreach for the community. Everything we do is an outreach for the community. I'm doing a Love My Gals, a brunch. And so we're having brunch together. How exciting is that?
There's been a big trend with Valentine's.
Yes,
Day,
it
and
has been.
all of the
Yes.
fun things that you can do with your girlfriends and getting them
Yes.
together. And
Yes.
I've learned people are no longer just having Valentine's for just couples.
Oh, for sure.
We don't want to exclude anybody
Yeah.
who might not
Yeah.
be a couple
Yeah.
anymore. And I
Yeah.
love that so many more women are getting together and they're
Yes.
doing the Valentine's Day.
Yes.
So I'm waiting for the bro days. I don't
Right.
know when they're going to come out with the Broentine's
Yeah,
Day, but
I
I feel
know.
like they need to come up
Well,
with
I
one
think
soon.
they just go hunting together anytime they want.
That's very true.
So that's the bro day. I mean, they're just duck hunting or they're
They have
that's-
bro days without us knowing they're bro
all the
days.
time. They have a lot of bro days. So while we're watching the kids. So yeah, no, they figure out how to, they find the bro days. They do, they find them.
Well,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again
Yes,
for
I loved
having
it.
me. You know, I
I
love
loved it.
doing anything I can with
Yes.
you. You've always been so much
Loved it.
fun. So thank you. And guys, I will be putting this out there for anybody to follow up and watch. Maybe we'll share this to the Rock Solid page
Yes,
if anybody else wants to
awesome.
see it. But you guys can play this back anytime and look for some other interviews that'll be coming up. And
That's exciting.
thank you again,
Love it.
Emily,
Oh,
for having
thank
me.
you. I'm
and
glad
for-
you came to El Dorado.
Oh, I thank you. It
Yeah.
was a lovely journey out in the snow. All right,
Love
guys,
it.
we'll see you soon. Have a great day.